Thank you so much for joining me again. This is ID Jester. Welcome back. We're going to continue our photo editing series here. If you watched part one, this will be part two of that series. In the last part, we spent some time just going quickly over some of the things I do to adjust video editing and some tips that I would recommend that anybody out there that uh, keeps photographs that wants to make them a little bit better. Different things to try. After we got done with our last episode, I had converted this DCS 0107 into 0107B with a blue tint, and after reviewing and looking at it, I decided that I didn't actually like the blue as much as I thought I was going to compared to the original. It almost looks phony or fake. Again, I like to keep my photographs as real as I can, remembering what the situation looks like. This almost looks like it's overdone, sort of say. So remember my tip last time and making sure you always keep your original so you can always go back and edit again. So what I did was just go back in and re-edited our original photograph, made a lot of the same changes with the contrast and lightness and darkness. I actually came up with this version C photograph now. Remember, I saved it as a new name, so that way I can always go back and edit it. And I decided I like this much better. It still has the blue, but it also kept some of the darker colors as well. And it doesn't look quite as fake as this one. It almost looks more realistic, and compared to the original, it's still I feel an upgrade from the original. So I'm very happy with the way this turned out. Again, I went through and basically did a few of the um, contrast, adjusting the different colors, getting the midtones, adjusting the saturation and stuff. So I thought I would go ahead and try maybe one more photograph here and see if we can get something. We got two that are really nice shots here. Again, something that you would probably print out and go, wow, that's a pretty good shot. I like that. That's pretty cool. Maybe we'll take one of these two. Actually, I think we'll take this one here again because when I name it, it'll be side by side. It'll be easier to view. So let's go ahead and double click and we'll bring that one up. Again, not a bad shot to first glance. It looks like something that's very pretty well composed. It has some decent, it's not too dark, not too light, something that I can actually work with. And so we'll go in and we'll do our adjustments here. We'll try the auto levels and see what happens. All it did was basically make it a little bit darker. Um, Made the darks a little bit darker. I don't think it did much else, which is usually a good thing. Shows you you're not too far off, but I still go into our levels here. Let's find a nice black, which is probably down in here. Find a nice white, which is definitely there. Now gray. Gray. Gray is going to be a little tougher, I think, to find a good... Oops, that's no good. You can see how our midtones adjust automatically based on whatever color our gray is. There's lots of different ways to find your perfect gray. I find it just as easy just to click around until I get what I think would be a nice grayish color for the photograph. And sometimes if I keep clicking and I can't find the perfect spot, which I'm having trouble finding in this photograph actually. Let's try this up here. That's too green. Way too green. Let's try up white to black. So somewhere in here is going to be a pretty good gray. Let's try that. It makes it a little bit brownish. So I don't really want a brown tint to it. See if we can find, it's not too bad right there. I think that's where I had before. Of course, you can always go back to auto. Let's just auto that. That seems to be a pretty good start. We're going to go in and get rid of all of our miscellaneous junk. Probably little pieces floating in the water. Do we have anything in the sky? Let's see here. Just like one little star there. Just so happens the moon was just shining right at me. Um, the moon is very, very, very hard to get in a night photograph where you actually see it like a moon because the Earth rotation and the moon rotation, you have to have very wide lens to let enough light in to actually get a photograph at like a thousandth of a second so that it's not moving. If it moves at all, which you will most likely have it happen, if it moves at all, then it blurs like it does. So not much you can do about that. I don't have a $1,500 lens that I can put on there to get enough light in to take night photographs where the moon actually looks like the moon. So that's why it looks like it does. In fact, if we go back into our settings here in our um, bridge program, you can actually see it over here on the right hand side. It actually gives you all the details about the settings on your computer, how about the settings on your camera, when it was taken, the file size, the dimensions, and resolution, and all that stuff. Let's see here. It was aperture. Let's see when. Looking for how long it's actually recorded. Focal length, lens, aperture, flash didn't fire. I'm sure it's there. I'm just missing it. I'm not seeing it though. Oh well. Maybe it says up here. Oh, here it is. Uh, the f aperture is a 3.5 and it took 1.1 seconds, I believe is what that is. To take this photograph. So in 1.1 seconds, obviously if you're taking anything at night, fortunately it was very still. It was a harbor in Santa Barbara, so fortunately the boats weren't moving. If there would have been waves coming in and you're taking a picture in 1.1 seconds, you would see nothing but a blur. So consider ourselves lucky there. Alright, so back to our photograph. Again, we're going to go in and get rid of some of this noise. I hate noise, but that's just a personal preference. Some people like noise, some people don't like noise. I don't like noise. And noise again is just all the little pixels showing up, kind of blending out together, make it look like little dotty, really dotted. Okay, so we're off to a good start. We got rid of all of our, let's see here, all of our junk in the sky. We want it to be as plain as can be. Here we go. And the water looks pretty good, so there we go. Alright, so now let's go in, look at our brightness and contrast. I have a sneaky suspicion that this one is going to be pretty much right on. Oh, you could really crank that up and make it different, but I'm going to cancel that. I kind of like the contrast, and we'll go into our hue and saturation here. Always give those colors an extra little oomph. Not too much, never too much. Yeah, definitely don't need it to be lighter. Maybe slightly darker would actually be better. Let's see here. Yeah, that looks not too bad. Something else right there I see. Alright, so there we go. Let's zoom in, zoom out, see if we can take a look at what our photograph looks like. Not too bad. Get a nice reflection from those purples that stick out now. We've given it a little saturation. These purples might stand out a little bit more. You don't want it all muddled. You don't want it all a big puddle of gray, which, oh, that was bad. Of course, luckily for us, we can always go back in and undo. Oh, I don't like how that's turning out. You can see, let me zoom into that spot. For some reason, when I do that, oops, undo. When I do that, kind of makes it a lighter, and it's not worth changing that little tiny spot. I'll keep that spot. All right, so we got a nice sky. Our ships have got some nice colors. The shadowing's okay, and I think we'll just go ahead and save as. So let's save this as B. Maximum quality. Let's take a look and see how it compares. So we got this one and this one. So again, this is pretty darn good to begin with. Just seems like all the water is kind of just a bland brownish color, and the sky is not as crisp as I would have liked. And you compare it over here, it doesn't look too much different, but actually when you look at them closely, you'll see quite a bit of difference. You see a lot more the mass of the ship stand out a little bit better against the sky because of the changes we setted. Huh, what kind of English is that? The mass of the ship stand out a little bit better because of the settings that we put in the sky, a little bit darker there as opposed to the lighter shade of sky next to the mass. So those stick out a little bit better. Very nice. Like that one a lot. I'll keep that one. And let's see if we can find... oh, here's always a good one. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You go to the beach, you have a wonderful day at the beach, you got the surf, the water, the beach, the sand, the mountains, the sky, and everything looks so great, and you bring it home, and all you get is this muddled piece of crap. And you go, wow, that doesn't look anything like what I remember. So what we're going to do is find a nice picture. Meeny, meeny, miny, mo. I like to do the ones on the left, so that way we can compare them. So either this one or this one. Let's try this one, sure. Let's see if we can make this a little bit better. Look at that. Alright, so we're just going to, first thing we'll do is obviously start with our auto level. Well, a little bit better already. Probably don't like the color it changed it to, so we're just going to go in and, oh, that's a nice algorithm there. That's not so good. This might be a little tougher than I thought it was going to be. Let's start with auto and see if we can adjust the auto. Okay, brightness and contrast. You can see that it's just all muddled together, so definitely want to try to get some contrast going, but we don't want to overdo it here. Definitely don't want to overdo it. Definitely need a little bit of brightness, but the brighter we make it, the more everything's going to blend together when you make everything white. Well, it's coming along. This one's going to be a problem one, isn't it? Wasn't a very good picture, I guess. Let's just add a little saturation, see if we can get some color to this. You can see when we start adding some color, things might start to separate a little bit better, but definitely never oversaturate or it'll look phony, it'll look fake. Wow. Alright, well, that's what we're going to go with there. We're going to have to actually go in and make our own adjustments to this photograph. Let's look at our neutrals. Lots of neutrals, as you can see. Alright, let's see here. Alright, let's try that. Whites, let's see where we're... Just the tip of the ocean wave. You know, just the tips of this water that's coming in. So that's good. We can adjust that without having anything else in the photograph all whacked out. Yeah, I can already tell I'm not going to like how this turns out. Sometimes you just don't have much to start with. In this case, sure. Not going to have much to work with. Let's go back to that here. Let's look at our sky. You can see dark in the sky, it makes things in the foreground kind of stand out. The beach line, the hotels, the more I make it darker, the more these looks three-dimensional instead of all this put together in one little. So we'll add some cyan, and we'll usually some blue in this case. Again, we're going to make the sky bluish, but then it's going to make it a little. Okay, well, definitely will be different than the original, but I'm not sure it's going to be any better. Let's take a look. Alright, so there's our updated edit as opposed to our original picture. You can tell the original picture is just all, whoop, here it is down here, all blended together, nothing. Kind of did the same thing. You can see here, started off with a much better picture, and you can make much better changes to it. This is one I had done off screen, but I just took the original, and when you have a good original, you can definitely have much better outcome once you make your edits. You see the sky is kind of muddled together. Nothing really stands out as opposed to here. You can see the sea and the sky all kind of blend together, and here we kind of adjusted our cyan and blue a little bit. Our beach is kind of muddled, so we made that stand out a little bit. And actually the wave along the beach is kind of muddled. So spent a few minutes adjusting that one. Let's see if we got something. Oops, this mouse is going to drive me insane. Let's see if we got something else we can look at. Okay, here's one that I had actually worked on, and you can see it's a much better original. Stop. Let's actually, I can just delete this one. Sure. Compared to that one that we were just editing, you can see this is not a very good original. So you're not going to get very good edit. So it's always good to pick up on ones that you've got a halfway decent shot of. You see this is not a bad original. Stop. Okay, it's got some different tones in the water, and you can see some different tones in the sky. And once the edit comes through with the color variations and stuff, you can actually see now there's a sand underneath the water here. Here you can't even really see that. The sky is much more distinctive. It's not muddled together with the clouds. And everything is a little bit sharper and crisper. So these are much better to edit than something like that. Let's see what else we have here. We got this one again. These are kind of just muddled, and everything's kind of the same. When I say muddled, I mean kind of just bland. Everything's the same. Nothing good. So we'll just move on, see what else we find. Now it's interesting when you're out taking photographs. Remember I was saying in episode 1, make sure you take lots, because here's basically the same shot. You notice it hasn't been edited. 503, 504, so neither one of these have been edited. Nice starts to these photographs. You can see though already the differences between them. You can see the sky here is like a light blue. Over here it's like an aqua blue. This was probably just slightly longer. Yep, there's this is taken at f-stop 6.3, and it was 1/500th of a second. And this here was f-stop 9 and was 1/320th of a second. So you can see just a slight variation has already changed the photograph, even though it's basically taken just about the same spot, the same time, the same everything. Again, here's another one, and it's actually very similar, but again, it was probably taken f-stop 9, 1/320th, f-stop 8, 1/250th. And sometimes you just get plain old lucky, because you look at these ones here compared to these, and you can see kind of still kind of bland, blah, nothing special, kind of just bleh. You take this picture just down the road and look at what you get. I mean, just totally different. Looks like these ones have already been edited, like I changed the sky and everything, but look, see, just normal, everyday. So that's why you always want to take lots and lots of pictures, because you're never sure what you're going to get. Here's the same house later, probably just a few minutes later, a few seconds later, whatever. Notice the sky isn't quite as blue compared to these. So these probably wouldn't need much edited at all. Much edited at all. So that's always a good thing. Let's see what else we got down here. So yeah, here we got a nice shot. Not too bad, especially since you're looking through two panes of glass out a window in an airplane. Let's see if I've got anything that might... I kind of done a night one, so I'm trying not to do another night one here. Done a couple night ones actually, but I like the night shots. Some of them just turn out so awesome. Here's this. Let's look at in here and take a look at what we can do. Here is some awesome... It was really interesting because these... I'm looking out the right side of the airplane at this point, and you obviously the sun was on the other side, and it was just the big tall clouds that were over on the left were casting these big long shadows from the sun. So it was very interesting. Let's see here. This is obviously a good put. Oops, come on, stupid mouse. This is actually a good one to start with. You can see there's quite a variation in colors and depth compared to this one, which is kind of muddled together. So let's look at this one, see if we can do something with that. First thing, let's try the auto levels and see what happens. Definitely made it way too purpley blue, so we're going to undo auto. Let's try auto contrast. That's nice. Nice. Good start. Almost makes it just too blue, but it was, trust me, it was like that. Let's try auto color. There we go. Kind of interesting. Let me go undo, and you can watch the different variations. It's not much, but if you watch closely, you see it's kind of a bluish tint all the way through here. It's kind of, especially right in this middle part of the photograph, it's kind of just all muddled together. And if we do that auto color, you'll notice it changes that to more of a flowing color into the middle area here. So you can see the shadows from the other clouds beyond. Let's might even like to try to lighten this up just slightly without going overboard. Contrast. Let's try our contrast here. We don't want to go overboard on that either. I never try to go overboard. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. It's almost looking fake, but trust me, it was very much like you're seeing in the photograph here. Let's get rid of whatever the heck this was here. Alright, and we got a same thing up here almost. Alright, got rid of that dot. Oh, we got something over here in the top corner as well. I don't know what that was. I kept cleaning my lens, but probably something on the actual window. But Because you're looking out two windows. The airplane's got two windows that you got to look out. So when people say, "Oh, you can't get a good picture," well, I don't know. I kind of think these are pretty decent pictures, especially for two planes of glass that you're looking out. See if we can finish getting rid of this, whatever the heck that looks like a smudge that was in the airplane window. Another one over here. Let's see if we can blend that out. There we go. Much better, much better. All right, now let's get into our biggie here. I'm gonna look at our. Oof, that's way too much saturation, but you can tell. See, if I saturate it just like that, it almost looks fakeish. It almost looks like you've put too much color into it. So definitely want to make sure we don't do that. And of course, we turn down the brightness a little bit, just slightly. All right, now let's go into our selective colors here and see if we can. Let's look at our neutrals first. Lots of neutrals. Lots and lots of neutrals. I think we'll go slightly lighter for neutral. Whites. Let's look at our whites. Alright, probably gonna keep it like that. Let's go with our black. Yeah, it's blacks. We're just gonna have to live with what we got, basically. I think I can. If I keep it like that, you can see it kind of just blends everything out. So I might just go a little bit lighter, keep that area the same color, because otherwise it almost this area in the bottom almost sticks out too much on the photograph. It's just like when you look at it, you're like, well, why didn't you just chop that bottom part off? Because there's nothing there. So if we just slightly make our blacks just a little bit lighter, then you can see it kind of blends into the photograph a little bit better. So that's always good. Cyan's going to probably, yeah, that's what I thought. Look at that. We could almost get a really nice dark blue sky, but wow. I don't like to go too far away from center. Like I said, the more you do, the more it doesn't look right for some reason. Blues. Let's look at our blues. Oh, and again, same thing. We could really get a nice dark blue out of that, but I think we're just going to go just slightly. Okay, it still looks kind of muddled. We want to definitely get some contrast here. Things need to stick out a little bit from one another. Right now they're just kind of just too much. Everything's moved together and sitting together. We want to keep things. We want to go, well, this is where this ends and then this is where this starts. And contrast is a good way to do that. Let's see here. That looks not too bad. Now let's look at our. Again, I hope you see this at home. It's just every slight variation every time you just turn this just slightly one point one way or one point the other way. I think I'm actually going to keep it right there. That looks pretty good. Still would like to have. Just doesn't look like it has much pop to it. You know, it just. Let's see if we can get a little more pop. That's not pop. That's not pop. Let's try auto. Yeah. That's not bad. That is not bad. Still would like to have these whites stick out a little bit. So let's go back into our selective colors and have our whites popping. We really want these whites popping out because these are going to be our main. We want these whites to really show. Somehow our blacks got looks good. Go back to our whites again. And these whites are really starting to pop out now. You can really see them starting to pop. But every number you make is a different adjustment. So be careful what you do. There's not much you can do because you're sitting in an airplane and you're going, wow, I gotta look through two planes of glass, and you can't adjust. You only have this little tiny window, so it's not like you can go, okay, I gotta frame this a little better or something, because you're basically strapped in and you get what you get. But considering what I see, let's go to noise again. We might need to reduce the noise, but not much this time. Let's go down to just 2 and have things blend together. I like blending. These whites still don't pop out very much, so I'm gonna see if I can make these stick out just a little bit more. You can see when I do that, you can see the bottom of the clouds and this area here. You can see it adjust, and even up in this bottom of the I think I'm actually going to go a little bit more than I normally do. So there you go. There's a couple more tips for you, some tricks, and some just helpful advice that I can give you for your photo editing. Hopefully all of you out there are enjoying this. If you do, please do give it a thumbs up. Be sure to leave any comments, suggestions, thoughts, and let me know. And if you enjoy this, then I will definitely continue doing it for you. Um, so here it is. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it, and we will talk with you soon. Until next time, this is ID Jester. Oh, you know what? Let's save it and compare it real quick to the other. And let's go in here. And oh, we got them sideways here. I'll just delete this one. Delete. Yes. So there we go. Here's our original. Not bad, but you can see a totally different picture just by making a few edits to it. And hopefully you can do this as well. Let me know what you think, and I will talk with you soon. Until the next time, this is ID Jester signing off.